Hi, kids. It's Jim Monahan and Chris Swendeman, and another 2-minute drill. And look at Mr. Hockey there. I like that cap.
Well, I figured I'd celebrate since they've been celebrating ever since, I figured I'd get in on the celebration. And this is the one, and save this clip, Jim, for future reference, because I know you'll use it against me at some point, that I have said the words, I freaking love Jack Hughes. It'll be the first and only time you'll ever hear me say those words as a diehard Ranger fan, and him being obviously a huge part of the New Jersey Devils organization. But USA Hockey is the tie that binds, and it brings us all together. And you know what? They made the country proud. They did a hell of a job over in Milan, and the team came together when they needed it most, and it was so exciting to watch. And you know, growing up watching the Winter Olympics, as far back as I guess when I was younger, '88, when Brian Leach and Mike Richter and Tony Granato and so many others were over there in France. I remember watching and and I still have that love and that amazement when I watch USA Hockey, and to watch these guys and what they did. It was just, and the women, by the way, and let
Yes.
me not forget the women. The women did just as amazing job. Both 2-1 wins against Canada. You couldn't have made your country prouder on both squads. It was just an amazing, amazing event to watch.
And of course, there's a little bit of trivia going on with Hughes, and that would be Jack
Hmm.
Hughes back in 1980
Yeah.
was cut from that Olympic team.
Yep.
And here you have a Jack Hughes as the winning player, scoring the winning goal.
Yep.
And Jack's mom played for the women's American national team,
Hmm.
correct? In the early
Yes.
90s, is it?
Yeah. 1992, she got a silver medal.
So
So yeah, hockey runs in that family. And they are just absolutely, you can't help but you saw the raw excitement when he was interviewed after the game, just talking about the love of the game and the love of his country. And we're just so proud right now, and we're just so happy that we could win the gold. It was raw emotion, and it was just an amazing thing to watch. You can't help but love that kid. I'll never say it again, but for now, as of when we're recording this, the Devils don't play again until tomorrow. So I have one more day to say I love Jack Hughes, and then the gloves are off, literally and figuratively.
one more thing I want to get to quickly before we get into the meat of this episode.
Yep.
And you had texted me the other day. Anthony Volpe is probably going to start the season. Well, he has to start the season in the
Right.
minor leagues because he's recovering from arm surgery. And it's 3 years too late. I don't want to harp on it. We've talked about this again and again and again. If they had done this earlier in his career, not that he wouldn't have gotten hurt, but I think up to this point, things would have been so much easier for him. I really do. If he had started that 2023 season in AAA instead of being brought up to the major leagues, and think about it, and everything that's happened to him since then. The good news here is he's not being sent down to the minor leagues. He's
Right.
going to the minor leagues on a rehab assignment. So I think from a mental standpoint, it's totally different than what a lot of fans wanted last year was ship him back to Scranton. And you think of the impact that that might have had on him. From a mental standpoint, here he is. He's supposed to be the next Jeter, as a lot of people were calling him. He didn't, but
Yep.
a lot of fans were saying it. And he was going to be the link to the dynasty, and we're going to get another championship here. That's an awful lot of pressure on a really young kid. So I think in the long run, this could be a very, very good thing for him from that standpoint. He's not being sent down to the minors. He's on a rehab assignment, and hopefully he gets himself straightened out, with his arm and comes back
Yeah.
100%.
And build some confidence. Because he needs it. The end of last year, injury or not, he had no confidence in his game. You could see it, whether it was in the field or at the plate. He just did not have any confidence, and you could see when young players have that swagger. Volpe lost it a long time ago. He lost the confidence in himself, and I just hope he can regain some of it, and like you said, rebuild and hopefully start new and see where he goes from there. But this is going to be the telltale sign, and I think this is a big, big year for Mr. Volpe for sure.
Tuesday afternoon is the first time I had a chance to really watch this new ABS strike zone that is being used in spring training. It's been used in the minor leagues for a few seasons, and in fact goes all the way back to 2019 when they used it in the Atlantic League and as a trial measure. So I watched the Red Sox and the Pittsburgh Pirates on Tuesday afternoon. The game, I think, ended about 5 minutes ago. God, that thing went on forever.
Oh
Oh,
no.
it was awful. But what's interesting is a lot of teams, the Yankees, I know are doing it, the Red Sox, I
Yep.
know are doing it, and others are as well. They are pushing their players like, do it now. Like, feel free. If you don't
Right.
like it, tap the helmet, tap the cap, get used to it. It's good for the umpires because they're going to have to use it during the season
Right.
as well. And it's good for timing. You have like 2 seconds in order to do it. And they also want the starters, the guys who are going to be the regulars in the lineup, to get used to this early
Right.
on. Some of them are going to play in the World Baseball
Yep.
Classic. And, by the fifth inning, you've got a lot of guys who are coming up from a backfield who might not get to double A this year.
Exactly.
You don't want to wait till later in the game to use a challenge in spring training.
Right. You want your regular guys to get, this is preseason and this is what it's for, to get used to everything, including a new balls and strike system. So you want your guys to get comfortable. Use it. It's there for you. Try it. If you think the call was questionable, tap the helmet, give it a little shot, and see. It's the only way they're going to get used to it. And you don't want to see them, tapping their helmet every other, pitch, but you
Well,
want
they
them to
can't
at
do
least
that. You only get two
right.
challenges per team until you get to extra
For,
innings. So you've got to
true.
pick and choose
You
when
got to
you
pick
do
right.
this. And only three players can actually request a review, and that would be the batter, the pitcher, and the catcher. And I know of at least one major league team that is going to forbid the pitchers to do it. They want the catchers to be the ones in control of it. Pitchers have enough to worry about as
Right.
it is. It's an interesting system. I have to
It
go with
is.
that. I saw a couple of overturned calls today in the Red Sox Pirates game, and there was one that I thought, wow, the umpire really missed that, calling it a strike. And he didn't miss it. He got it. It was right there. The plate's
Oh, wow.
17 inches wide, so you've got a baseball on either side of it.
Right.
So players are trying to get used to, is that high? Is it low? And each player is being measured height wise individually. So it's not a one size fits all. They're all
Aaron
measured.
Judge.
It's all, yeah, right. It's all thrown into whatever system that they're
Right.
using. I think T-Mobile is the one that is sponsoring this whole thing. But an interesting concept. It does not slow the game down as much as you might think. The calls today, I think, ran between 10 and maybe 13 seconds. A
That's
week
not.
ago, there was one that supposedly went 40 some odd seconds. I don't think you're going to see that during the regular season. And I wasn't paying attention when that 40 plus second one happened, Chris, to know whether
Yeah.
it was a technical glitch or not. So, with only two challenges per team in a 9 inning game,
Yeah. That's
15 seconds
right.
maximum,
Right.
you're not talking about a lot of time here.
No, and that goes with what I've said many times, and I think you have too on this podcast, that for the new generation that is bored or wants to speed the game up because it's too slow, find another sport. You're clearly not a baseball fan. It's nothing they're going to do is going to speed it up that much that it's going to make the game that much different from a viewer perspective. If you're going to like baseball, you're going to be there. If baseball is too long for you, it's probably not the game you really are going to be interested in anyway. So it's an improvement, yes, but it's not going to change the game drastically as far as from a time perspective.
One of the other things that came out of that Red Sox Pirates game on Tuesday was this kid that the Pirates have, Connor Griffin. He is
Oh,
Baseball America's #1 prospect in the game. He launched a pair of home runs, Chris. One, I think, just landed about 10 minutes ago. I mean, talk about a stud. He's still only 19 years
yep,
old, and he looks like Lou Merloni, one of the Red Sox
yep.
broadcasters today, was saying he looks like a grown up. This is not a 19-year-old kid who's going to grow into an adult body. This guy's an adult already.
Yeah, like they've said, that's a grown ass man. Like that he is he is going to be a player in this league for a very long time. He's got the makeup, he's got the physicality, and apparently he's got the baseball acumen and the brain to go with it. So it's going to be really interesting to see what Pittsburgh does with him because unlike a Volpe, which we've talked about so many times earlier, in this podcast, Griffin is playing in Pittsburgh. Not a lot of pressure last time I checked playing for the Pirates. Not a lot of media coverage in Pittsburgh. So you have a lot going for you that, playing in a big market like New York, the Dodgers, other teams, Chicago, where they have multimedia. This kid's got a real good start, and I really want to see what the Pirates do with him. I really just hope if he's ready, they just let him start. They don't, pull the shenanigans with getting an extra year by leaving him down in the minors for, I mean, they did that with Skeens to some extent. Last year, I'm forgetting the Pirates pitcher who was coming up after Skeens from LSU, but they kept messing with his time clock. I don't want to see them, and I don't think they're going to be able to hold back the public for him if they try to hold this kid down and he's mashing it.
You made a great point in the comparison with Volpe, and we just alluded to it earlier. Volpe came up, and even though there was a couple guys between him and Jeter,
Right.
that was in everybody back of a lot of people's heads. He's the
Right.
next Jeter. He's this. He's the link to the championship years. We're coming back. We're not talking about this kid
Right.
Griffin replacing Willie Stargell
Right.
or Roberto Clemente or Bill Mazeroski, who just passed
Yep.
away, any of the great legendary Pirates. We're not talking about that. So, as you just said, there's not a whole lot of pressure there. I'm not sure if they'll bring him north, as they used to say, if he'll make the big club
Right.
when they break spring training camp in a couple of weeks. He may get a little bit of seasoning down in AAA, but I'm telling you, watching him today, and you
Yeah.
don't want to jump the gun,
No, you
but
don't.
you look at him and you go, the kid's going to play. There's no question about that. Having been an associate scout for the Tampa Bay Rays for about 5 years, one of the things I learned is don't believe anything you see in March or September. March, of course, being very
Right.
early in the season, and spring training in September, of course,
Yep.
when all the call ups come up. I'm watching the Yankee game the other day, the season opener in spring training, and Spencer Jones hits a home run. And immediately on social media, it's like, oh, he's got to play this year. Come on, please. George
Stop.
Lombard Jr. is having a really
Oh,
good spring training.
yes.
Brian Cashman said the other day he's already ready to play defense at the major league level. What is he, 20?
Yeah.
Really?
He's
You're going to
20.
put that kind of pressure on? And I know we're talking about one 19-year-old kid and a 20-year-old kid, and we're
Right.
saying, oh, he's ready to come up. It's Pittsburgh. Oh, he should stay down. It's the Yankees. It's all of these crazy expectations that we as fans have. There's no pressure on Connor Griffin to bring a
No.
flag to fly the Jolly Roger, right? There's no
No.
pressure on him yet.
No, the Connor Griffin is going to be able to get to be Connor Griffin. He doesn't have he's going to be the first Connor Griffin and he doesn't have to be the second Connor Griffin. All he's got to do is be him. Lombard, Spencer Jones, whoever you bring up for the Yankees are going to be compared to the last great Yankees or the next Judge or the next Jeter or the next entered player here. The Yankees come with expectations. It's just different in the Bronx. It's the way it is. And you can't rush these kids. Let them have time in double A. Let them have time in triple A. Let them grow naturally. Maybe they are ready, but you know what? You don't have to rush them. Get them as much seasoning as you can because once they're up, if they go back, you're just doing harm to their mental and physical states at that point. And you have to rebuild them from scratch. If they need any more convincing, if you're in AAA, sit next to Volpe and get some stories from him on how tough it was to transition, how it's just not the flip of a switch. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. I really hope when the Yankees break camp, both of Lombard and Spencer Jones aren't with the big club because it's too early.
We talked about the attention that Connor Griffin is getting so far in spring training, and there was a Yankee prospect who lit up some eyeballs as well as a radar gun. What about a week and a half or so ago?
Yep.
Carlos Lagrange, who struck out
Yep.
Judge on a 102-mile-an-hour pitch in live pitching that the
Yeah.
batters were facing. And a couple of thoughts. One is it's the middle of February. Why is anybody raring back and throwing 102 now? I have no idea what
Awesome.
his
Right.
off-season training regimen is. He could be fully ready to go. I have no idea. But you think of the rash of arm injuries, especially on this team.
Oh
How
yeah.
many Yankee pitchers are coming off serious injuries? And now you got a kid in the middle of February going, oh, what? Hey, Judge, hit this. And he's throwing
Right.
102 plus.
Well, what people didn't mention is there was a backstory to that. The at bat that Judge had against him before that, Judge hit one that hasn't landed yet. So it's the yin and yang with everything. Yeah, he struck him out on a 102-mile-an-hour pitch, but before that, he put one over the plate, and Judge said, "Oh, let me introduce you to who I am," and launched it over the fence. So there's the good and the bads here. And does he look exciting? Yeah, when you see a radar gun hit 102, you're gonna open your eyes a little bit. But again, everything should be taken in certain context, and let's not get too high and low in February. We're just getting to March. We're not even there yet. So he's got a lot to prove before he could break for the big league camp or even talk about that.
And as I said, speaking as a former associate scout, which is really the lowest on the totem pole for the scouts, but nonetheless, it's on my resume.
Regardless.
Believe nothing you see in
Right.
February and March and nothing that you see in September. I do want to, before we close, I need to point out we mentioned your USA hockey cap.
Yep.
This hat here, GL, that's Governor
Mhm.
Livingston Baseball out of Berkeley Heights. And the reason I'm wearing it is because one of their coaches asked me on Sunday, this past Sunday, the 2 Minute Drill podcast. I said, yeah. How long have you been doing that? Well, I said, well, we're doing it for a while. It never goes 2 minutes. I go, yeah, I know. It goes like 20. Like, yeah, I know.
Mhm. Yep.
I said, well, it boils down to this. My show, my rules. Our show, our rules.
Exactly.
That type
Yeah.
of thing. So
Exactly.
anyway,
Yeah. Hashtag our show, our rules.
yeah.
It's just the way it is. Yeah. It started out, as something when you were hosting the morning show on WDHA. We started it there. It was 2 minutes or
Roughly.
around there, roughly, give or take. And we just decided to keep the name because people knew what it was. People referred back to it from, you and then adding me into the mix. So we kept it. And there it is. And you know what? It's got a sports reference to it. It's catchy. We like it. And that's it.
Now we just need a
End of
sponsor.
story.
So,
Right.
so
Exactly.
go Highlanders and go USA Hockey. Oh, you're over
Exactly.
there. Go USA
I'm here.
Hockey. And we're going to look for a sponsor. And we'll have other things to talk about next week. You know the drill by now. If you like us, tell a friend. If you hate us, tell an enemy. Like, subscribe, help the algorithm out, please. We're begging you. And we'll talk to you next week.
You guys, Jim, have a good one.
2 minute drill. How come it's 20 minutes?